Shabbat Shalom. Welcome today on the Shabbat Gathering as we discuss being well pleasing in the eyesight of Yahuwah. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. We're Smith with Witnesses of Yahuwah. Welcome to House of Restoration, a house without walls, here to gather the remnant of Yahushua HaMashiach. I'm going to start this segment off just saying I feel kind of like I'm in a Jeremiah situation. And the reason I say that is because right now at this current state and moment is like I'm at a place where it's like it seems as if no one is listening. And if y'all remember Jeremiah, he was preaching and he was telling everybody what was coming, and it was like nobody was listening. And he said, you know what, I'm not gonna speak the word of God. I'm not gonna speak y'all's words no more. I'm just gonna keep it to myself. Whatever he give me, I'm gonna keep to myself.
He said it.
And all of a sudden in the scripture it said he felt like it was fire shut up in his bones. He had no choice but to proclaim it. So as he went forth and proclaimed it, even though others did not listen and others did not hear what Jeremiah or didn't take warning, there were certain ones that did take heed. It was called the remnant. And those were the ones that were saved. So even though my mouth wants to stay shut, and even though I feel like right now I don't feel like doing this, I have no choice but to do it because I am a servant of the master. And a lot of times in order to deny yourself, you have to do what the master is asking you to do, regardless of whether you feel like it or not. There's many countless things I could be doing with my time, finishing homework or, going out. But the Shabbat is for us that we set it apart, that we become more like him and what he's doing. And he created the Sabbath so that we may have a day of rest, that we may set it apart to spend time with him. And so in doing that, I must deny myself in order to be able to be counted worthy. Because remember this, I'm not worthy. You're not worthy. No one is worthy. We're worthy because of the blood of the Messiah.
Amen.
And because he bared our sins.
Thank you.
And our iniquities and our transgressions.
Yes.
That we're able to be counted worthy, that we're able to one day hear, well done, my good and faithful servant. But there's a series of tasks that he has placed before each and every one of us that we have to be able to do. So it doesn't matter if you feel like doing it or not. It doesn't matter if you got other things that you need to do that you feel is more important that needs to be done. It doesn't matter, because what matters at the end of the day, what really matters at the end of the day is that Yahuwah, Yahusha, Yeshua, Jesus, whatever you want to call him, is his will being done in your life.
Yes, sir.
And his will is that whatever you go through, his will is whatever happens in your life, that you count it first, not robbery, but be thankful. You be thankful that you're able to have life in your lungs today. Because it's the one that him that breathes the Ruach into you, that you're able to sustain life.
Yes.
And it made me think, when I got up today, I wasn't even up 10 minutes, and my son said, Daddy, the hands with the holes in it, with the blood.
Oh, thank you.
And at that moment I realized he was describing the scars that Messiah carries. And those same scars that he could have had those scars renewed, where he didn't even have scars in his hands when he came in his resurrected body, but yet he kept the scars so that we would know. Because see, there's people in this day and in this generation that doesn't believe that Messiah risen from the grave. They don't believe that Yahuwah came in the flesh, manifested as one of us, and walked as the light of the world. And then in his death, he risen and left, ascended to the Father, and sent back his Ruach HaKodesh, so that we can be ambassadors unto him, emissaries that go forth and tell what needs to be told in the earth realm today. And yet, there are those that don't believe, but yet a child with the faith of a mustard seed, he believes that Yahushua, he said, Daddy, I saw Yahushua's hands. And I said, how do you know that was Yahushua's hands? He said, I just know. Who told you that? I did. Messiah knows who to use. And he said, when the Pharisees said, hey, you stop these people from praising. They don't need to be praising you like that. You're not the Messiah. That's basically what they were saying. He said, if I stop them from praising, then even the rocks, y'all will raise up rocks to praise on their behalf.
He said it.
So are you going to be one that praises joyfully? Are you going to be one that is willing to just praise, or does he have to lift up rocks to praise him? So that's why we have to have our mindset set and ready. Even though, like Jeremiah, in his mind, he didn't want to do it. And in his mind, he was saying he wouldn't do it. But in his heart, he had no choice, because for conscience sake, he knew that the will of Yahuwah was more important than his will. And last week we talked about desire while we was on the threshing floor with Tamika. We talked about the desire, our own desires. And yet our own desires is what causes us to slip and walk away and do anything other than what Yahuwah would have us to do. And in our minds, we have already made up whether we're gonna do it or not. But it's your heart that's being judged. It's your heart that's being tested. It's your heart that's being proved.
Yes.
And when it comes down to it, for you to go forth into the next, when it comes down and you want to know whether you're bearing fruit, that shows whether you're bearing fruit because it has Yahuwah's seal of approval on it. Look at that word prove. That word prove fits right in there into approvement.
Yes.
It has to be approved by Yah himself before we could just go on to the next task.
Yes.
When I'm going into this job to train, before my manager said, okay, you accomplished this task, move on to the next one, I have to be able to handle the first task that he gave me properly before I can move on to the next one. Because if I don't know how to handle the first one, guess what? The first one work in conjunction with the second one, and the second one work in conjunction with the third one. So therefore, we have to know when he has given us, and when he is trying us, and when he is proving us how to go through the fire without complaint, how to go through the fire and endure our suffering.
Yeah. Come on now.
To endure as the Messiah endured your sins.
Yes, all right.
As he bore your iniquities.
Yes, amen.
And your transgressions. And even was hung next to the transgressors. And yet the transgressor had the nerve to badmouth the one that can save him. But one had common sense to realize that this man was innocent. He done nothing wrong. And yet you badmouthed him, and we were in the wrong. Yeah. We lived lives as thieves. Yeah. But here he is telling the truth and being honest, and people spit on him. Telling the truth and being honest, and was beaten. And yet, when we hear a little bit that might whoop our spirit, we get disturbed and don't want to do his will no more. Huh? We let it disturb us because somebody has something to say about how you're praising and how you're worshiping. You allow that to discourage you. And so I'm not going to stand up and praise him. I'm not going to worship him. I'm going to stay quiet today because they're looking at me. But not realizing that maybe that person is looking at you because they want to know how to worship, because they want to know how to praise. Yeah. And then even if they're looking at you and they're laughing and joking and whatever, guess what? Their heart is being judged according to what they're doing. Mm-hmm. So don't let your heart be judged according because you're worried about what they're doing. And so in saying this, Messiah, Yahushua, HaMashiach, Jesus the Christ, however you want to place it, he himself, he done all that he knew to do. Yeah. That was placed on, he bare it all on his shoulders. And so when we hear him say, Father, why hast thou forsaken me? This was the moment in his life where the Father wasn't never present. And this is where I want to go with y'all on this. There are going to be times in your life when you're bearing burdens for others that the Father will seem like he's not present with you. And that's at the time when you're going through your proving. That's at the time when you're going through your fire. Messiah was going through the fire of his affliction. And he was being proved. We don't see it as he was being proved because, he was the Messiah. No, it's showing that God himself came down and was as a man, he felt pain. It's showing that he suffered. And it's showing that he was obedient, even to them that done him wrong. We learned last week, when it comes to even being obedient to those that are crooked, being obedient to them that are godly. We're learning in Scripture how to be more like Messiah. So when we look in our study in 1 Peter chapter 2, and we're in verse 19 now. But go all the way back to the beginning of verse 1 of chapter 2, where he said, having put aside then all evil, and all deceit, and all hypocrisies, and all envyings, and all evil words. This is the only way that you can walk the path to be able to serve somebody obediently, whether they are crooked or whether they're godly. Yeah. Amen. See, because your eyes doesn't have a set mark on that how they are. Your opinion doesn't matter. Because it's the Messiah, the right arm of Yahuwah that will judge. Yes, come on. I think it's a scripture in James that says, who made you judge? There's only one lawgiver, and that's Yahuwah. That's Yahuwah, Eloheinu, our God. That is the judge, that's the lawgiver, but yet we make laws and add to the religious duties and to the religious rights and different things that we add every time that a person goes sits in the building. Mm-hmm. That's why I say that we're the ecclesia, the kahal of Yahuwah, the gathering of his people. Not just a church where we go and sit and we say that we're worshiping for an hour. My worship is weekly, it's daily. It's every hour.
Yes.
And at times I feel like that Messiah is not there. At times I feel like I'm alone. But guess what? Through it all, when I'm down in that cistern in the mud, I know it's His arm that's gonna lift me up. And when I'm at that moment where I feel like I'm hung on a tree, nails in my hands and in my feet, crown, and I'm just giving you the example of Messiah, what He went through. When I feel like the Father isn't there, and everybody is coming up against me, I know to say, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Even the crooked one that may be over you, that may be doing all type, that's when you need to be praying most. That's why sometimes you're placed at certain jobs and certain arenas and certain stages of your life so that you can be the prayer warrior in the midst of the sin. But we complain. We worry about why I feel like I'm doing more than somebody else. And all Messiah wants is your obedience. The reverential obedience. Go ahead.
You know, when you were saying that, it seemed like He might leave you for a moment. It's in Isaiah. I was trying to find the exact scripture. He said, even though it might seem like I have left you for a moment, then some scriptures down later, He tells us, no weapon formed against you shall prosper. Even though it might seem like He's not there, we got to rely on what He told us. We got to rely on the very word. I'll never leave you, deny, nor forsake you. I'll be with you throughout eternity. We got to remember those words. No matter when the enemy coming in and try to tell us, oh, he had me thinking last week, you weren't born again. You weren't born again. So I had to combat him with the word. I felt like Yahushua, when He led him into the Ruach HaKodesh, led him into the wilderness. Sometimes you just have to use the word. And I like how you said you had to rely on the word. It might seem like sometimes he have left us. But that's the time you're in your testing period.
Amen. And so look at verse 19. It says, for this is favor. And with 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 19. For this is favor, or I'll read the King James Version. Okay. For this is thankworthy, if a man for conscience toward God endure grief, suffering wrongfully. Okay? For this is thankworthy, if a man for conscience toward Yahuwah endure grief, suffering wrongfully. Okay? Let's look at that word thankworthy. Thankworthy means commendable. It means thanks for benefits, thanks for services, or a form of favor. You know how Yahuwah shows favor. You know what? I'm pleased with you. I'm pleased with how you done this. I'm pleased with and a lot of times what we looking for when we do good things, we looking for somebody to give us a pat on the back. Tell us congrats. You did a good job.
Yeah, that's true.
But yet, all we have to do is accept the fact that I'm doing it for Yah, and I know that Yah is a rewarder of them that seek Him diligently. I know that my reward is with Him and not here in this earth. I know wherever I place my treasure, there is my heart also.
Hey.
And if I place that in Messiah, then why do I need a man to pat me on the back? That's why it doesn't matter if your boss is crooked or godly.
Yeah.
But you count it thankworthy.
Yes. Come on now.
We have to realize, because see, he's talking to those, and I want to reach out to those with the slave mentality, because we have so many of our brothers that have a slave mentality. They get to work and they complain, but don't realize that's the place that's helping you pay your bill. Yeah. I heard a guy say last night, "Oh, they ain't giving out no overtime. I guess I gotta get back out there and sell drugs." See that?
Yeah.
That's the kind of mindset that keep on people where they at.
Yeah.
Because that's the first thing that you go to is back to what they want you to think. This is how they want us to think. Not realizing all you have to do is one simple thing. One simple thing can cause you to be successful in life. It's called submission. What is in that word submission? Mission. Mission. You should be on a mission for your Creator. Submit to your mission. Submit to Yahuwah so that you can perform your mission. But yet we rather say, oh, I would go back and sell drugs. That's what I'm going to have to do and work a job. Really. Because I'll tell you this, I survived off $100 a week. Child support coming out, baby needed diapers, all that different type of stuff. And my mindset wasn't to go back into the street and sell drugs. It was to serve him more diligently.
Thank you, yeah. Yes. Thank you.
It was to serve him more diligently. A year and a half, 2 years ago, I was living with a family member. And not even 2 full years later, he moved me to a whole nother state where I didn't have the funds for that. But my mindset wasn't to go sell.
Amen.
And go back to my old ways.
Come on.
When I've been through the fire,
Teach us.
I don't want my works to be made stubble. I want it to be refined, purified, so that the fruit that comes forth from that is able to be eaten. We talked about the first fruits earlier today.
Yeah.
Now I want to give you a illustration, because the first fruits, that's the good stuff.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? That's the stuff that people want to buy.
Yes.
Then you got the lower grade fruit.
Come on.
The lower grade fruit that might, get cut up and put in, ingredients and different things. I don't want to just be an ingredient.
Come on. Amen. Now.
I don't want to just be part of a temporary artificial flavor.
That's true. Come on.
I want to be part of his first fruits. Something that he goes out and he looks at the vine and says, you know what? I want to put this one in a basket. I want to store this one.
Yeah. Ooh.
See, so when we look at that, and he's saying, I want to be pleasing to him and not the man.
Yeah.
I want to be pleasing. I want him to recompense me for my services of being a faithful servant. I want to hear, well done, my good and faithful servant.
Yes.
I can't be acceptable to him doing what I want to do. If I say I'm going back to sell drugs, that means that the old man have risen.
Yes.
And because I don't feel like doing this, that doesn't make it right that I go and do anything else that I used to do on Sabbath.
Yeah.
I had to do what's pleasing and acceptable to him.
Yes.
Look, the Greek word that they use is charis, meaning commendable, thanks for benefits, thanks for service, to be recompensed or shown favor. But who are we looking for that through? Are we looking for it through Messiah? Or are we looking for it through man? Because now if your reward comes from man, then you don't get a reward from Messiah. If you get an earthly reward, your spiritual reward is
Come on now.
because you sought to be pleasers of men rather than pleasers of Yah.
He said it.
The Pharisees' reward was with man,
Yeah.
not with Yahuwah.
Amen. Now, come on. That's real.
We learned that. He said, observe and do what they tell you. Observe and do what they tell you. But don't do as they do. They're crooked.
Yeah.
Remember, beware of the leaven of the Pharisees.
Yes.
A little leaven will leaven the So when we look at this scripture and he's telling us,
Thank you, Yahushua.
and he's telling us, well, this is thankworthy, this is commendable. But look at the Hebrew word rasa. It's to be pleased, acceptable, delight. To be pleased, acceptable, delight. Let's look at first for the because I like to go between the New and the Old Testament. So let's look at what the New Testament says in Acts chapter 2. Acts chapter 2, verse 47. And I actually love this whole, I can start from 42 and work my way down to 47.
Scripture.
Acts chapter 2, verse 47. So look what it's saying. Praising Yah and having favor. That word favor is what we are looking at, Ratsah, or Charis, being commendable. So it said, praising Yah and having favor with all people. Now listen, it ain't saying that they being pleasers for those people. They're having favor with people because they're praising Yah. Yah is using them, the people, to add to the church what? Daily. And listen, and Yahuwah added to the church daily such as should be saved. Listen, they wasn't seeking favor from man. They were praising Yah, and he was showing favor through man and adding to the church daily. Let's look at why. Because if you go back up to verse 42 and say, and they continue steadfastly in the apostles' doctrine and fellowship and in breaking of bread and in prayer. See, that's worship.
Yes.
Fellowship is worship. Prayer is worship.
Yes.
They continue how long? Steadfastly. They continue always in the, listen. And so, and fear came upon every soul, and many wonders and signs were done by the apostles. We're not seeing wonders and signs. Sorry. I've seen wonders and signs. If you're not seeing wonders and signs, then you need to get in the proper place. Oh, I'm sorry. Did they not see wonders and signs in the wilderness, and yet they still couldn't follow the commandments of Yah? So if I'm showing you wonders and signs and you still won't be obedient, what good is the wonders and signs right now? Well, I tell you what, those that are showing reverential obedience, he showed wonders and signs in their life. Oh, we didn't see no sea split. I'm sorry, I seen spiritual seas split in my life, where I could walk through on dry ground and didn't slip off no mud neither.
Amen. Come on now.
Oh, see, he's talking about the spiritual thing. No, if you open your eyes, you can see the natural wonders and signs being done in people's life too. I have seen people healed from cancer. I have seen people about risen from the dead that was on the brink of death.
Yeah.
If you're not seeing these things, then you're not in the right place. If you're not seeing these things, that's because you're not set apart. And even those that weren't set apart that were seeing these things still couldn't walk in obedience because they were talking about Moshe and Aaron behind their back. Yeah. And what happened there? When they tried to set a commotion in the midst of the people. Huh? What happened? Yah opened up the earth and swallowed them. And so I want to tell you this. If you're around people, you need to be careful if they're running their mouth because you might get swallowed up. You might just get swallowed up. So look at it said, and all that believed were together and had all things what? Common. I mean, they weren't in one mind and one accord. They were doing things together. They didn't have commotion. And listen, and sold their possessions and goods imparted to them to all men, and every man had need. They were giving tithes, they were giving offerings, they were doing what was needed wasn't selfish toward one another. They all survived by sticking together.
Amen.
House of Restoration will be a house that sticks together.
Yes, come on.
We don't need windows because we don't have walls.
Amen.
Now look at here. And then say, and they continuing, listen, daily. Can you say daily? Daily. They continuing daily with one accord in the temple and breaking bread from house to house, from house to house.
Yes.
From house to house. Okay? Did eat their meat with gladness and singleness of heart. Here we go, our focal verse. Praising God and having favor, or having raksa with all people, and Yahuwah added to the church daily such as should be saved. Let's look at another one, okay? Let's go to the Old Testament, or let's say this, let's go to the original text, the Tanakh. And let's look in Esther. A lot of people don't go to those for, a lot of people don't know, read Esther. Do they even know does that book exist? Yeah, Esther. It's a good book. Is Yahuwah's name mentioned in that? Nope. But guess what? He moved mightily, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Esther is a good book. And y'all know Mordecai, he went through his trial, did he not?
Yes.
And even though they were trying to kill all the Jews, did Mordecai, didn't he not, did Mordecai not continue and strive through the test, even though they were trying to hang him and trying to, when I first read that, I was just like, my God, that sounds like the same thing, same thing that go on now. Esther chapter 10, verse 3. It's the very last verse in the whole book of Esther. For Mordecai, the Yahudim, was next unto the king Ahasuerus, and great among the Jews, and accepted, y'all hear? Accepted, that's that word. He was thankworthy of the multitude of his brethren, seeking the wealth of his people and speaking peace to all his seed. You see that? He was accepted by all his people, or he was counted thankworthy. Why? He wasn't seeking to be at the next to the king. That wasn't his objective in the book of Esther. Read the book of Esther. It was Haman. That was his objective. He was jealous of Mordecai and tried to figure out a way to spring traps against him. Yeah. And yet Yahuwah over and over allowed him to go through. And as he went through, you know what happened? He placed him. Here's another one. Let's talk about Daniel. Daniel wasn't doing that. He was minding his own business. These people said, you know what? We got to find something that we can get Daniel with. And they said, man, we can find no flaws with him. You know what? I know a flaw. We can find a flaw in his God's Torah. Yeah. Oh, you know what? King, make a decree that nobody but you can pray. And if they find praying, and they throw in the lion's den. Yeah. But what happened? What happened? He found favor in the eyes of the king and said that the king fasted all night.
Amen.
And in the midst of fasting, not only that, he came down and he asked him, he said, did Yahuwah, your God that you serve, did he save you from the mouth of lions? And he said, long live the what? King.
Hey, hallelujah.
He said, for Yahuwah sent the angel to shut the mouth, shut the mouth of the lions. Let me tell you something. When you are showing reverential obedience, he'll shut the mouth of your lion. Yes. Even though your adversary roams this earth as a roaring lion, he'll shut his mouth. Why? Because we have a true lion called the Lion of the tribe of Judah, that when he roars, all other lions know to scarcely get away. And I don't know if y'all knew that, but if you really look up Wild Lion Roars, it said that his roar can be heard 5 miles away. Well, let me tell you something. My king's roar was heard 5 centuries away. Huh? 2,000 millennium away. Because when he rose from the grave, he roared. And when he comes back, listen, he's not coming back as a gentle lamb. No. He's coming back as a warrior, king,
yes,
a lion,
come on now.
ready to throw down. It said that by the sword of his mouth, darkness will be eradicated. Will darkness be found in you?
Come on, you said it.
Huh? Because you got a crooked boss? Are you gonna, oh, he get on my nerves, I can't stand him. You know what, I ain't doing this.
Yeah.
No. Seek a way that Yahuwah pleases you regardless of who you serving. Just stop looking at it as you serving man.
Yeah.
Stop looking at it as you're serving man and serve the Most High. And then you won't have the mindset that I'm going to go back and sell drugs. You won't have the mindset that find you a good wife.
Yeah.
She'll be a crown into your head.
He said it.
Instead of looking for a hooker
Yeah.
or a prostitute.
Yeah, he said it now.
Our people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge. That's what scripture says.
That's the word.
Look at the next word that we see, and after it talks about being thankworthy. Get back to my point, my place. So, okay. So it said, for this is thankworthy if a man for a conscience toward Elohim. What is the conscience? The conscience is the part of the mind that makes you aware of your actions as being either morally right or wrong. So the conscience is the part of your mind that basically makes you aware. So the Greek word is synodices. The soul is distinguishing between what is morally good and bad, basically prompting to the former and shun the latter. Or basically you go towards the good, you shun the evil, commending one or condemning the other. And we had to realize in our minds, that's what I was talking about earlier, our minds, our conscience, is also attached to our heart, our conscience. Not only our mind, but it's also our heart. So when you look at the Hebrew, and the Hebrew is the area or lavav to describe the place where the rational thinking process is done or occurs that allows a person to know Yah's blessing, or it also means heart, mind, and understanding. What did David say? He said, I will meditate with my heart, mind, and soul. Why is that? That's because that's the lavav. That's where his conscience is. Amen. And so when we look not only at the mind but at the heart, see, there got to be a bridge between the mind and the heart. Yeah. They have to be in sync. They have to be like they were in the book of Acts, chapter 2 and 42, have all things in common. Yes. And daily be on one accord. Because if the mind is doing something other than what the heart wants to do, then you're going to be going totally in the wrong direction. Once your heart is made up, guess what? You can make up your mind. Yeah. But if your mind is made up and your heart ain't, then what you're doing, have you ever heard he's doing it, but his heart ain't in it? Yeah. He ain't doing it the best that he can do it. Yeah. Because his heart ain't in it. That's because only your mind is in it. But when you have both of them going to a certain pace, guess what? You're going to do what? The best job that you can. And so for conscience sake, we want to do the best job that we can for Yahuwah Elohim.
Yes, sir.
Okay, look at Romans. Romans chapter 2, verse 15. Romans chapter 2, verse 15. Alright, it say, who showed the work of the Torah written in their hearts, their conscience, that's your key word, their conscience also bearing witness. Listen to that. Your conscience bear witness.
Yes.
And between themselves their thoughts accusing or even excusing in the day when Elohim shall judge the secrets of men through Yahushua Messiah according to my good news. So look at that. Let's go back up. I want to go back up. I want to go back up further. And see, I'm reading out the scripture. I'm going to go to the King James Version and read it from there so everybody can follow. Because listen to what he just said. He said your conscience will bear witness and it's going to accuse or excuse when it's time for judgment. You see that?
Yes, sir.
Romans 2 and 15. And I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go to verse 11 with me.
Okay.
Okay? He said, for there is no respect of persons with Yah.
Yeah.
There's no respect of persons with Yahuwah. For as many as have sinned without Torah shall also perish without Torah. And as many as sin in the Torah shall be judged by what? The Torah. For not the hearers of the Torah are just before Yahuwah, but the doers of the Torah shall be what? Justified. Being not only what? A hearer, but also a doer of what?
The word.
The word. That's what Torah is. It's his word. It's being obedient to his commandments, to his laws, his statutes, his ways. So when I say Torah instead of law, now we have to be careful because sometimes when Paul is talking about law, he's talking about the Talmudic law that they brought back from Babylon.
Okay.
These are you can look it up. The Talmud is a set of laws that the Pharisees and different ones went by when they came back from Babylon, and that thing that they decreed and added in. And remember, don't add to the word, don't take away from the word. So and what they began to call it was the oral law. Look it up. Sometimes when stuff is being presented to you, you're given that opportunity to go and research it for yourself.
Yeah.
You don't expect the teacher to give you everything.
Yeah.
Sometimes the teacher's looking for you to bring him information back.
Amen.
Sometimes when we, that's something that I personally do. Let me hear a word. I'm like, hold on, Talmud.
Yeah.
You want me to spell it for you? Talmud. If you want to hear the whole thing, Talmudiclaw. Talmudic law. My wife said, hold on, what is that? And I knew right then and there when she wrote it down, she was going to be able to come back and tell me, oh, I got what you were talking about now. And that's one thing I love about teaching her and teaching my auntie. They're going to ask, and after they ask, they're going to go find. When they come back, if they don't still fully get it, then they'll put whatever I have with what they have, and then boom.
Yeah.
There you go. So now look at this. He said, in verse 14.
He said what?
He said in verse 14, for when the Gentiles, which have not the law, do by nature the things contained in the Torah, these have not the Torah, or a Torah unto themselves. So they making their own law.
Yeah.
That's what I was just explaining here. They're making their own laws, which show the work of the Torah written in their hearts. Okay? Their conscience also bear witness, and their what? Thoughts. Where does the thoughts come from? Your heart. Remember what Yahushua HaMashiach said? Remember what he said about? He said, it's not what defiles a man that comes out that defiles a man. It's what comes out of your mouth. It's not the drop. It's what comes out of your mouth. Because what are thoughts is this comes from the heart. These things come from the heart. I ain't quoting it just right, but y'all know what I'm talking about. He's saying that's what comes. It's what defiles a man is what comes out the heart. The bad things, the nasty things is what coming from the heart. So look what it said. The thoughts, that's what a heart. That's the seat of the heart. So look what, and I'm gonna break it to you. So he said, which show the work of the law written in their hearts, their conscience also bearing witness, and their thoughts, the meanwhile accusing or else excusing one another. Remember, accusing or excusing. Remember, we can't make no excuses for what we do. Look what it say in verse 16. In the day when Yahuwah shall judge the secrets of men. Where is the secrets of men hidden at? In the heart. In the heart. By Yahusha Messiah according to what? My gospel. So we have to look at where the conscience play a role in our daily lives. Okay? The laval, the rational thinking process. Of knowing whether we're being blessed or whether we're going to be cursed. Huh? Deuteronomy chapter 6. I like to use the new, and then I like to use the I like to use the renewed, and I like to use the Tanakh. So I like to use the Basora and the Tanakh. So going in what we call, or what the scriptures call, the King James Version called the New Covenant and the Old Covenant, or the original and the renewed. So I'm going to Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 5. And thou shalt do what? Love Yahuwah thy Elohim with all thine heart, with all thine soul, and with all thy might. You realize that word heart, soul, those fall in the same category as laval. Your heart and your soul. These are the places, the rationale. So your heart falls under that area. Thou shalt love Yahuwah Elohim with thine heart and with all thy soul and with all thy what? Might. And these words which I command thee this day shall be where? In thine laval. Or in your Sinaitis. Sinaitis. Place it there. Keep it there. So when you're going forth, like Peter says, you're like he says, for this is thankworthy if a man. Why is he saying that? Servants in verse 18, be subject to your masters with all fear, not only to the good and gentle, but also to the crooked. So he's saying, for this is thankworthy if a man for conscience toward. See, your mindset has to be on Yah. Because if it ain't, when a man that you see you doing crooked, you gonna have things to say about him, or you just gonna feel like your heart ain't gonna go toward what is being done. So you won't be able to do all things what? Wholeheartedly, as if you're doing it unto Yahuwah. So therefore, you'll be doing it just to do what? Make a paycheck. Now you're serving mammon. That's what a lot of people go to work for. They don't realize that if they work for Yah, they seek ye the kingdom of heaven first and its righteousness, then all the other things that they're seeking out there or that they want will be added. Because guess what I realized about Yah? He don't just give you anything you desire, he give you what you need. But the things that you desire and the things that you want, guess what? They're like, I desired a new car, but that wasn't my will that it happened. I had to do his will. And in doing his will, along came, listen, I had a car, so I didn't need a new car. I had a vehicle. And it was a high mileage, but it ran pretty good. I mean, it went where it had to go. Didn't have no leaks, no problem with the tires, nothing. Everything on it was legit. But you know what? He desired, and he knew the traveling that I would be doing. You know what? His desire is my desire. Yeah. And if his desire is my desire, like his will is for me to do whatever it is that if I give my full will over to him through me, not through him making me, because we're not puppets. You see what I'm saying? But through me just giving my will over to him, and his will overlaps my will. Now anything that I desire will come later on in the process. That might not make sense to anybody, but I'm trying to give you a clear description. I didn't ask for a bigger apartment. I didn't ask for all this stuff. He provided it through righteousness. And that's the clearest way I can put it. He will provide the thing, and guess what? Yes, you may need it, but if you already have it, then there's no need for it. But what he desires is for your happiness. And through your happiness, you serve his will, and then through the righteousness, serving him and seeking him. See, these things shall be added. So instead of seeking that after that first, instead of seeking him, if you're just seeking that and you're going after all that stuff, then the only thing you're doing is you're corrupting your soul. And James put it like this: if you're corrupting yourself through gold, or basically money and clothes and cars and all that different type of stuff, basically trying to be what we call prosperous here in America, basically he said that will be a witness against you in the last day, heaping up treasures and fires for your soul. So that's something that we have to keep in mind. Now, I want to look at one more thing, because he told us that we must endure. That we must endure grief, and we'll talk a little bit more about this next week. I'm not going to focus too hard on it right now, but we have to realize that Messiah endured for us. And that's something that I'm dealing with right now, is enduring. Even when it seems like things isn't going right. Even when it seems like your life is just in shambles and you don't know where you need to go. We ask him, in all my ways I shall acknowledge him, and he shall direct my path. Now, I do know that when that was said, that was a covenant made between Laban and Jacob, that they don't pass the pillar that they made. You don't pass this, and I won't pass. And Yahuwah will direct our path wherever it is that we may be. No, I'm sorry, that's the wrong one. It's the other one that we normally say. So, and this one, in all my ways you shall direct my path. I'm sorry, that's found in Proverbs. So in Proverbs, that's what we're seeking him, is to direct our path with whatever we're doing. Because there's certain obstacles that will come up in your life, and forgive me for quoting that wrong. I was just reading about Laban and Jacob the other day. But anyway, so when we read those scriptures, we don't just say them just to be saying them. And that's something that I say every morning. And I had to realize, even in getting frustrated, I had to say, hold on, if he's directing my path, then I need to stand back and realize that whatever it is that's happening right now is his will. And if it's out of his will, then I'm doing something that he hadn't ordained, and I'm doing something that I desire to do, or something that I place myself in. And so a lot of times I have to step back and I have to look, and I have to say, you know what, Messiah, am I doing what you want me to do? And so a lot of times we have to stop and just take that moment in time, even when everything seems hectic, even when everything seems like it's out of whack, and ask him, am I in your will, or am I doing what I want to do? And so that's why when we're enduring any situation, we have to know that hardship is going to come along with this walk. And a lot of times we don't talk about it enough as Nazarene or Messianians. We don't discuss the hardship that come along with it, but we have to recognize that in these hardships, Messiah suffered hardship each and every prophet and each and every person in these scriptures suffered hardship. And next week we'll do a more in-depth look on how Paul suffered hardship. All the apostles suffered hardship. And through that they endured. And we have to be able to endure. I think it's Paul told Timothy, endure as a good soldier.
Yeah.
And you must overcome and prevail. And we have to realize that we have overcome through Messiah. So we just have to realize that as we go through and as we continue on these scriptures, we'll see where we're learning from the doctrine of the apostles, but we see where all their teaching come from what Messiah taught them, and they learned hands-on by walking with him. And so we're learning hands-on by walking with him through their doctrine. Amen. Amen. So I'm going to shut my mouth and ask first that if you're able to give a praise offering and just thank Yahusha for just what he's doing in your life right now. Hallelujah.
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 Thank you, Yah. Thank you, Yah. We thank you, oh glorious Father, for just being here with us right now. We just ask that as we did this study, even though it was moments of aggravation that led to this study, I just thank you for just being gracious enough just to place your word in my mouth and let it come forth out of my belly. And just those that came to hear and those that will hear later on YouTube, I just ask that you bless each and every one that have come forth, bless their ears, bless their eyes, and bless their souls, my God. And just let them continue to seek you for whatever it is. And we just thank you and we acknowledge you right now in this house that you have built without walls, that it stands on the foundation of Yahushua HaMashiach. Amen. Amen. We gather your people together. Amen. Amen. So I hear that we got a couple on the phone line. Anybody, do you have anything that you would like to discuss or anything you would like to say? Nobody? Me?
Praise y'all. I thank y'all for this blessed Bible study because it was truly nourishing to my soul, especially when you was talking about things worthy, a form of favor. We don't realize how much favor we have when we be obedient to what he told us to do. And I thank him so much for just being, our Messiah, someone we can depend on in our time of trouble. And I thank him so much for, for allowing us to be accepted by him and to know that in the midst of everything we're going through, if our heart is with him, nothing bad should proceed out of it. So I thank him so much for allowing you to come with that word, especially from Acts 2 and 43 through 47, because that is a blessed scripture. Because if we get together and we help each other out and we be there for each other, and he'll bless us. If we get out of these selfish mentality ways and just humble ourselves and help each other out. That's why he said leave the 10%. That's for the poor. We never know who, instead of saying, okay, this man on the street, he homeless, we never know what's going on to read he homeless. Because when we were staying with our family member, we were considered homeless in the eyesight of the government. Yeah. So you never know how or what goes on in a person, home to make them become homeless. So I thank y'all for this because, and truly to be accepted by him, we got to go through some stuff. We got to suffer for his name's sake. We got to do some stuff. So I thank him for that.
Amen. All right then. And nobody else have anything, then we will close out. Emmanuel, can you close us out?
Close us out. Come on.
Please.
Stand up. You want to give them things?
Come on, say it.
All my ways,
in all my ways,
I shall acknowledge him.
I shall acknowledge him.
And he's here.
And and he shall
direct my path.
direct my path.
In Jesus' name.
In Yahushua's name.
Amen.
Amen.